Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Shalom, shalom, kwam yasha'Allah, koholoimla, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Makahakodash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan the Waf. It's coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And, a lot of countries are starting to turn their backs on Israel, man. And it's prophetic as well. But with these particular situations, that scripture I just read, these people are assassins, man. They will assassinate a leader like it's nothing right on TV. It's nothing for them to do it. And they're the least of the flock, and they're going to draw America into, that third world's woe, man, that third world war, according to Revelations 11:14. Okay, but it says EU, and it's also, this is that division that Yahushua spoke of in Matthew 12:25, where it talks about a nation divided cannot stand, or a kingdom divided, cannot stand, roughly paraphrasing. And all these Edomites, these so-called white people throughout the world, they're starting to buck up against each other, and especially against America, man, Babylon the Great, because they've been bullying every damn body, even their allies, But it says EU proposes sanctions, partial suspension of Israel trade deal, and Gaza response, right? And this is stuff that you never used to hear about, man. You never heard of any countries coming up against America or Israel the way that they are now. The European Union wants to suspend preferential tariff treatment on more than 1/3 of Israeli goods exported to the bloc and expand its sanctioning of officials in response to the crisis in Gaza. And see, people starting to see that, and really, these people don't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? They really don't care. It's just that, it's making them all look bad. So, you got different spirits of certain, each one of these continents can have a different spirit as far as Edomites. Some of them, they kind of act like they care, but they're still the wicked. Some of them, are better than others. You know what I'm saying? But there's some cutthroat Edomites over there in Israel, man. Like, they don't give a shit, man, along with these ones in America. So, but some of these other, Edomite countries, they're like, nah, man. That shit don't look good. That's not a good look on the world stage, man. Okay, but it says, senior officials at the European Commission, the bloc's executive arm, said on Wednesday that they presented a package of measures to member states, which would include additional tariffs on goods, putting support in areas like public administration on hold, sanctioning 2 Israeli ministers, and bolstering measures against members of Hamas. They said the measure would hit roughly 5.8 billion euros. That's a lot of damn money. Or that's 6.88 billion of Israeli exports to the bloc, and result in an estimated additional 227 million euros of duties to be paid per year. EU imports from Israel were worth 15.9 billion euros last year, the commission said in a press release Wednesday. The EU said it wants to suspend trade elements of an agreement with Israel that dates back to the 1990s, which would mean that exports from the country would be subject to the most favored nations rates under World Trade Organization rules. Tariffs would increase on roughly 37% of Israeli exports, officials said, and would apply to goods like fruits and rubber products. The proposal does not mean the commission is barring trade with Israel, and it won't affect areas like capital movement or customs, they said. The trade aspect of the plan would need to be approved by qualified majority of the EU member states, which they may do or they may not do. But the point of it is it's talks about it. There's talks on it. You know what I'm saying? They never used to talk like this. The announcement comes after Commission President Ursula von der said earlier this month that the Commission would start suspending trade ties with Israel as pressure has increased on EU to take a harder line on Gaza. The horrific events taking place in Gaza on a daily basis must stop. von der Leyen said, there needs to be an immediate ceasefire, unrestrained access for all humanitarian aid, and the release of hostages held by Hamas. Steps against Israel will be answered accordingly, and we hope we will not be required to take them. Yeah, okay, well, they might knock her ass off too, if you've ever seen who she is. Yeah, because these people, man, I'm telling you, they don't have no problems, man, with taking your ass off this planet, man. They'll assassinate your ass on national TV. Now, this is something that was in New York Times. It says, angered by Israel's attack in Qatar, Arab leaders meet to weigh response. So you got all these leaders of these Arab countries, you know what I'm saying? Like, and see, they're too small over there. Here you go, you got this, supposedly the smallest amount of people in the world. You in that little bitty secluded area over there, because that's not all of Israel. That's not the Israel that, the Israelites had back when King Solomon was in rulership, man. You only have a small piece of land over there. And you're surrounded by nothing but enemies on every damn side. They're circling you. Okay, but it says some Arab officials are pushing for tangible but not military action against Israel. And Egypt's president said the Israeli strike threatened diplomatic ties that Israel spent years cultivating. They don't care. It says, okay, after convening for an emergency summit, Arab and Muslim leaders on Monday vented their outrage at Israel for carrying out an airstrike last week in Qatar that targeted Hamas officials, but they failed to agree on any punitive measures to take in response. So, I mean, who knows? They might do something, they may not. But these countries over there, they're getting sick of that shit. They're getting sick of that shit. You disrupting the whole region, man. So now, also, too, I asked ChatGPT, right? So while Charlie Kirk was getting gunned down and wasn't nobody paying no attention, this is what they were doing as well. So I asked a couple of questions. I asked, did America make it a law that if any states that don't want to do business with Israel, funds will be withheld? Okay, and let me just jump to the summary of it. It says, bottom line, yes, there are laws that penalize or disadvantage businesses or state contracts that boycott Israel or refuse to do business with it by withholding certain contracts, investments, and grant funding. Now, here you go. You're an American in a country that's fucking a foreign country got power in your states like this. It's crazy, man. And you see a lot of these Edomites, these American Edomites, they're starting to really look at and matter of fact, these Christian Edomites that always supported Israel, they started to look at Israel with a side eye, man. Right? Because they're starting to see this type of, and they're tired of their tax money going to places like Israel. Because Israel, they get free college over there. They get free medical care and stuff like that. Here you go, you struggling over here. You got student debt loan in the hundreds of thousands. Trying to go to school to be something, whatever. You're not going to the doctor and getting shit, goddamn free health care. They running your ass ragged in this place, man. And these Edomites are starting to get sick of that shit. So that's that division that's being started. It says, but these are not blanket federal laws that strip all funding from states simply for choosing not to do business with Israel. The reality is more nuisance and depends on a specific program, contract, or state law. I mean, that's enough. I mean, that's how it rolls anyway. The contracts, the investments, and grant funding. If you're going to stop that, then that's all you need. Okay, so it asks me, if you want, I can check the most recent court rulings or any changes since 2025 to see whether anything has moved towards a broader law. Do you want me to dig it up? So I say yes. It says, got it. I checked. Short answer up front. There isn't a single blanket federal law, pretty much what I just read, that automatically strips all U.S. funds from states that refuse to do business with Israel. But federal grant notices and many state laws do condition certain funds or contracts on not participating in boycotts of Israel. And those measures have been widely adopted, litigated, and recently expanded in practice. Here are the key points and sources. And Trump done this. This is Trump with the "Make America Great Again" mantra, and he done made Israel greater than you Americans. And these doofies don't get it. So they give you this Charlie Kirk bullshit, and you stupid doofy motherfuckers you falling for it. You should be, out here protesting and fighting against this shit right here. But here you go. You want to blame niggas for every damn thing. No, it's your own people that's fucking you over, man. Federal grant and contract conditions have been used to push the same outcome. In 2025, federal grant notices, not an across-the-board statute, were updated to require applicants for some FEMA disaster preparedness grants and related funds to pledge they do not participate in BDS activity, affecting roughly $1.9 billion in grants, according to reporting. That is an administrative condition tied to those specific grants. So you can't get a grant if you boycotting against Israel, period, basically. Legal pushback and court rulings. Courts have been split and litigation is active. Because we know that, overall, those Edomites, those Israeli Edomites, they're the ones that's running America. They're the judges. They're the lawyers. They're the ones that's in control of all the positions to pull this kind of shit off, while you doofy ass Americans is going to work and breaking your back all damn day long, to send your tax money to these people that and they've duped you into believing that they're the original people of the scriptures, and they're not. Okay, it says the Supreme Court has sometimes declined to take up challenges, leaving lower court rulings in place. For example, the High Court declined to intervene in an Arkansas case that resulted in lower court rulings upholding the state law. Recent administration actions and reversals. There were high-profile federal actions in 2025 tying FEMA disaster funds to anti-BDS pledges. Multiple outlets reported the administration grant notices. Some stories also reported a reversal or changes in how that policy was presented or enforced. Administrations can revise grant terms or their website language, so the precise status of any particular grant condition may shift, because this is an administrative, not statutory policy. So why is Trump doing this? You know what I'm saying? Well, isn't he supposed to be making America great again? Okay, it says, bottom line, plain. If a state or company refuses to do business with Israel, they may lose access to certain state contracts, state investments, and specific federal grants. That includes anti-BDS certification requirements. But there is no single federal law that automatically withholds all federal funds from an entire state for that reason, which they can do that too. Okay, so let's ask some more. Y'all, the point is made. But see, these people are tired of Esau, man. He's really running the people ragged, man. You know what I'm saying? And again, let me get this Matthew 12 and 25 since I quoted it. They're really just separated. It's going down throughout the globe. It's not working out well for them. The Lord is really breaking their shit up. Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahweh knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So if you got Edomites in Russia fighting against Edomites in Ukraine, the Edomites in America fighting against the Edomites in Russia, you got the Edomites in just all over the place, man. These people are not together no more. It's not working out well for them, man. And they're starting to just be exposed, and they're not making good decisions. Everything they're doing is becoming real sloppy. And so again, with this particular article, let me go back to it real quick. EU proposes sanctions. And they may do it, they may not do it, but you know what I'm saying? The thing of it is talks of it. And they never used to talk like this, man. And again, these people, they don't have no problems with knocking your ass off. They would take your ass off this planet, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's nothing for them. We've seen the guy do it. That's the reason why Qatar is, you know what I'm saying, talking about, coming up against their asses. You know what I'm saying? Because you pretty much, you've come up against an ally. That's an American ally. They holding the talks over there for, the peace of your nation, the peace of your land, so you can be at peace. And here you go, you shooting a goddamn missile into they capital, man. And all Trump did was what? I feel very bad about what Israel done. But okay, well, what you doing about it? Because you're complicit in it, because the missiles that the motherfuckers are shooting, they come from here. So, just a quick little, little something, man, to just show the separation and the division of this place. And once that happens, man, that's a part of those prophecies, man, that must come to pass before the coming of the Lord, man. So I didn't want to keep it long. With that, hey, just continue on praying for the downfall of this place, man. Matter of fact, let me just grab one more in the Apocrypha. Coming out a lot these days, man. It's Sirach 25:7. And it reads, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. Right? So we're watching the fall of our enemy. And this is not the only thing that's going on. A lot of these countries, they don't want nothing to do with them as far as their sports, their films, their movies, their music. They're boycotting a lot of Israeli shit, man, throughout the world. So, it just is what it is, man. So, and they're losing that favor in the earth, and that's the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua that's doing that to him, man, because the man of sin, the son of perdition, has to be revealed, and he's being cornered, man. He's being revealed. That's him. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying. Kwame Yasha Allah and a Bible Ball.